Angela thought the worst was over after the party, but the truth came out slowly in pieces like little knives. A few days later, she sat with Maya at the kitchen table, the evening light spilling through the curtains. Maya was doodling in her notebook, her short hair hidden under a scarf. Angela had been watching her daughter more closely, noticing how quiet she'd become. The laughter that used to spill out during cartoons was gone. The way she used to hum while doing homework, gone too. "Maya," Angela said softly, reaching across the table. "Can I ask you something?" Maya didn't look up. "MHM, was that the first time your Aunt Vanessa did something like that?" Her pencil froze. For a long moment, she didn't speak. Then she shook her head slowly. Angela's stomach sank. "What do you mean?" Maya's eyes filled with tears, though she tried to blink them back. She always makes fun of me. She says things when you're not around. She laughs at my hair. She says I'm too quiet, that I'm boring. She tells me her daughter is prettier than me." Angela's breath caught in her throat. "Why didn't you tell me?" Maya shrugged, her voice breaking. "Because I didn't want to cause drama. Every time you two argue, Grandma gets upset. I didn't want you to fight more. I thought maybe if I stayed quiet, she'd stop." Angela pulled her daughter into her arms, her chest tightening with guilt. How many times had Maya been suffering in silence while she was too busy working, too busy surviving? She stroked Maya's back as tears stung her eyes. That night, Angela lay awake replaying the flashbacks that Maya described. She remembered times when Maya came home from Vanessa's house quieter than usual. Times when Vanessa had made innocent comments like, "Maya should smile more, she always looks so dull," or, "My daughter's hair is so much thicker, maybe Maya needs some vitamins." At the time, Angela brushed them off, not wanting to start a fight. Now she realized they were little cuts that had been bleeding into Maya's heart from. The next weekend, Angela visited her mother. She wanted support, someone to stand beside her. She sat on the old couch where she had spent her childhood, her hands clenched in her lap. Her mother listened quietly as Angela explained everything, how Vanessa shaved Maya's head, how Maya confessed about the insults. When Angela finished, her mother sighed heavily. "Angela, I know it was wrong, but you have to forgive her. She's your sister." Angela blinked. "Forgive her? She humiliated my daughter. She's been bullying her for months." Her mother shook her head. "Vanessa didn't mean real harm. She just jokes too much. You know how she is. Don't tear the family apart over this." The words felt like a slap. Angela stared at her mother, heat rising in her chest. "So Maya should just keep suffering? You want me to tell my daughter to accept being humiliated, because that's how she is?" Her mother avoided her gaze. "Family is family, no matter what." Angela felt the isolation press down heavier than ever. It was the same old story. Vanessa protected, excused, and Angela left to swallow her pain in silence. But this time, it wasn't just her. It was her child. That night, Angela sat at her desk after Maya went to bed, staring at her laptop. She typed child endangerment law into the search bar. The thought had been growing in her mind. Maybe what Vanessa did wasn't just cruelty. It was something the law should know about. Shaving a child's head without permission, mocking and humiliating her. Wasn't that abuse? Her heart pounded as she scrolled through articles. There were stories of parents reporting relatives, of cases where jokes crossed the line. For a moment, Angela pictured calling the police, filing a report, seeing Vanessa face consequences. She pictured Maya learning that her pain mattered, that someone would protect her. But then fear crept in. What if no one believed them? What if the family turned completely against her? What if the legal fight made Maya's life even harder? Angela closed the laptop with shaking hand. She couldn't decide. The weight of the choice pressed down on her chest. In the days that followed, the pressure grew worse. Relatives called her phone, some urging her to move on, others laughing it off like nothing had happened. Vanessa, of course, sent no apology. Instead, she posted smiling pictures online of her own daughter, her hair long and glossy, captions about family love that made Angela sick to her stomach. Everywhere Angela turned, she was reminded that if she stayed silent, Vanessa would win. But if she spoke up, she would stand alone. One evening, Maya sat on the couch, scrolling through her phone, and whispered, "Mom, everyone at school saw the pictures. They laughed at me today." Angela's heart broke. She sat beside her and held her close. "Listen to me," she said firmly, brushing away her daughter's tears. "You are not a joke. You are not less than anyone. I will fix this. I promise." And as she said it, Angela knew she was standing on the edge of a decision that would change everything, for her, for Maya, and for the family that had always demanded her silence. The second family gathering was supposed to be peaceful. That was what Angela told herself as she dressed Maya and drove them over. Her mother had begged her to come, promising, "No drama this time. We'll all just eat and enjoy." Against her better judgment, Angela agreed. She didn't want Maya to grow up without family, and part of her still wanted to believe they could change. The house was crowded again, music playing, children running in and out. Angela tried to stay calm, keeping Maya close to her side. But then she saw Vanessa across the room, laughing with relatives as if nothing had happened. That smirk on her face was enough to reignite the fire in Angela's chest. Hours passed, but Angela's anger didn't fade. It grew. Every laugh, every careless remark, every glance toward Maya made it worse. Finally, when Vanessa made a loud joke about Angela's dramatic episode, something inside her snapped. Angela stood, her voice sharp and loud enough to silence the Enough! The chatter died instantly. All eyes turned to her. Angela's hands shook, but she kept her chin high. You think it's funny? Shaving my daughter's head. Calling her names. Comparing her to your own child. Do you think humiliating a little girl makes you strong, Vanessa? Vanessa raised her brows, then let out a laugh. Oh, here we go again. Angela, you're obsessed with me. You twist everything I do. I was joking. Everyone knows that. But you, she pointed at her sister, you love to play the victim. Angela's voice rose. A victim? No. I'm a mother protecting her child. You have been bullying Maya for months, and you think you can hide behind the word joke. You've called her boring, ugly. You've told her she's less than your daughter. And you've done it all while smiling like butter wouldn't melt in your mouth. The room grew still. A few relatives looked down, embarrassed. Others whispered to one another. Vanessa crossed her arms, smirking again. Oh, please. Maya's too sensitive. I was teaching her to toughen up. You're raising her to be weak, just like you. Maybe if you weren't such a failure in your marriage, you'd understand how to raise a strong girl. Angela's chest burned. The cruelty of the words cut deep, but before she could speak again, a small voice broke through the silence. Stop! Everyone turned. Maya was standing near the corner, fists clenched at her sides, tears shining in her eyes but her voice steady. You didn't shave my head as a joke. You did it because you were jealous. The room gasped. Vanessa's smirk faltered. Maya's voice shook, but she pressed on. At school, the teachers told me my natural hair was beautiful. They said I should be proud of it. Some girls even asked me how I styled it. And you looked angry. You told me I was too young to think I was pretty. Then that night at your house, you said, we'll see how pretty you feel when your hair is gone. Angela's hand covered her mouth. Tears filled her eyes. The relatives murmured in shock. All eyes turned to Vanessa. For the first time, her mask cracked. Her smile faltered, her eyes darting around the room. Angela's mother stood slowly, her voice trembling. It's true. The room went silent again. Angela turned to her. What do you mean? Her mother's hands twisted together. I always knew Vanessa was cruel. Since she was young. She was spoiled. I gave her too much. And I let her get away with things because I felt guilty. Guilty? Angela asked, stunned. Her mother's eyes welled with tears. Your father left when she was small. I tried to fill the hole with love and gifts. And when she hurt you, I told you to forgive her. I thought if I kept the peace, the family would stay whole. But I see now. I was wrong. I enabled her. And I failed you. Angela's breath caught. For years, she had begged her mother to see, to acknowledge the unfairness, the cruelty. And now, in front of everyone, the truth was finally spoken. Vanessa's face turned red. You're all ridiculous. This is some pity party for Angela and her weak little daughter. You think you're saints? I'm the only one who tells the truth in this family. Angela's anger hardened into something steady. She took Maya's hand and turned to the room. You can all excuse her if you want. You can laugh, you can stay silent. But I will not. I will not let my daughter grow up thinking cruelty is love. If that means walking away, then so be it. She pulled Maya close and began to walk toward the door. The silence behind her was heavy, broken only by a few whispers. No one stopped her. No one tried to excuse Vanessa this time. As the door shut behind them, Angela felt the night air rush over her face. For the first time, the weight on her chest lifted. She didn't know what the future held, but she knew one thing for certain. She and Maya would no longer live in silence. The weeks after the confrontation felt heavy, but different. For the first time, Angela didn't feel like she was drowning in silence. She had spoken up. She had walked away. And now it was time to rebuild. She found a therapist for Maya, a kind woman with gentle eyes who made Maya feel safe. At first, Maya barely spoke, answering questions with shrugs or whispers. But slowly, session by session, she began to open up. She talked about the names, the comparisons, the shame she carried when Vanessa mocked her. She cried, and the therapist told her those tears were not weakness. They were release. Angela sat in the waiting room, holding back her own tears, proud of her daughter's courage. Angela also joined therapy herself. She realized she had been carrying scars from her marriage, from her childhood, from all the years of silence. In the quiet of the therapist's office, she admitted how often she had felt small, how often she had been told she was too much or not enough. She admitted how scared she was that Maya would inherit that same brokenness. And for the first time, she heard her own voice speaking truths she had buried. Life at home began to change. Angela made time, even with her busy schedule, to sit with Maya at dinner and ask about her day. They cooked together, laughed over burnt pancakes, and sometimes just sat in silence, holding hands. Angela told her stories about her own childhood. The pain, yes, but also the joy. She wanted Maya to know where she came from, but more importantly, to know she could choose where she was going. Family invitations kept coming, but Angela declined them all. At first, her phone buzzed with messages. "You can't stay away forever. It's not that serious. Don't break the family." She ignored them. Some relatives stopped calling altogether. A few quietly admitted they respected her decision, but most stayed loyal to Vanessa. Angela let them go. Peace, she learned, was worth more than forced togetherness. Vanessa's shine began to dim. Word of what happened spread, and though many tried to defend her, the whispers grew. People noticed the cracks in her perfect image. She no longer commanded the same easy respect at gathering. Angela didn't take joy in her sister's fall, but she didn't grieve for it either. Actions had consequences, and finally, Vanessa was feeling them. One evening, Angela found Maya standing in front of the mirror, touching her short hair. For the first time, there was no sadness in her eye. Instead, she smiled, shy but proud. "I think I like it this way," she said. "It makes me look strong." Angela's chest filled with warmth. She walked over, hugged her daughter from behind, and whispered, "You are strong, with or without hair. Don't let anyone make you believe otherwise." Angela realized then what healing meant. It wasn't just moving past the pain. It was teaching her daughter a new way of living, one that didn't accept silence as love, one that didn't excuse cruelty because of family ties. She had broken the cycle her mother never could. There were still hard days. Nights when Maya cried, remembering the laughter. Days when Angela doubted herself, wondering if cutting off the family was too much. But then she looked at her daughter, smiling more, standing taller, and she knew. Protecting Maya was never too much. It was exactly what love demanded. Months passed, and life began to feel lighter. The sharp pain of that night had softened, replaced by small moments of peace. Angela noticed the difference most in Maya. She laughed more now, not the nervous laugh she used to hide behind, but but a real, full laugh that filled the room. She walked with her shoulders back, her head held higher. One Saturday morning, Angela found her daughter sitting by the window, the sun catching her short hair. Maya wasn't hiding it anymore. She wasn't covering it with scarves or hats. Instead, she leaned into the light, smiling to herself as she flipped through a sketchbook. Angela stood in the doorway, watching, her heart swelling. For months, she had prayed to see that smile again. Maya looked up, noticed her mother, and said quietly, "Mom?" "Yes, baby?" "Thank you," Maya whispered, "for standing up for me. You made me feel safe." Angela's breath caught. Tears filled her eyes before she could stop them. She crossed the room and pulled Maya into her arms, holding her close. She kissed the top of her head, whispering, "You'll always be safe with me. Always." For a long moment, they stayed like that, mother and daughter wrapped in silence. A silence that no longer carried shame but comfort. Later, as Angela stood in the kitchen making tea, she thought of the road behind them. Her marriage, the years of silence, the family laughter, the humiliation, the fight. All of it had led to this moment, where her daughter knew she was loved, protected, and valued. Angela wiped her eyes, whispered softly to herself, "Never again." And with those words, she felt the weight of generations lift from her shoulders. She had broken the cycle. Hey besties, thanks for staying till the end of this emotional story. Imagine your sister shaving your daughter's head at a family party and calling it a joke. Painful, right? But sometimes, betrayal forces us to stand taller and protect the ones we love. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, drop a comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories. See you next time. The music was soft and elegant, the hall glowing with golden light. Guests laughed, glasses clinked, and the smell of roasted lamb filled the air. My brother's wedding was the grandest thing my family had ever hosted. I wore a long silver dress that shimmered under the lights. I had spent hours getting ready, telling myself that tonight I would be treated like I belonged, like I mattered. When I walked into the hall, my eyes searched for my seat. The tables near the stage were filled with family, close friends, and business partners. I expected to see my name there. Instead, one of the staff members guided me toward the far corner, past the decorated arch, past the main tables, and then through a side door. They pointed to a small table near the kitchen doors. It was where waiters came in and out carrying trays. Plates clattered, staff whispered orders, and the smell of grease and detergent filled the air. There was my seat card, Sarah. At first, I thought it was a mistake. I asked one of the cousins, "Are you sure this is right?" Maybe my name card was put in the wrong place. She gave me an awkward smile, the kind that hides pity. "That's where your mom told us to put you. She said it's quieter back here." Then she slipped away before I could answer. I sat down slowly, my hands trembling in my lap. From my chair, I couldn't see the bride and groom clearly. I couldn't hear the speech as well. Every time the kitchen doors swung open, a rush of heat and noise hit me. A waiter almost spilled soup on me when he hurried past. I looked toward the main hall, where my parents sat proudly at the front, smiling, clapping, raising glasses with Daniel and his new wife. I wanted to stand, to walk there, to demand a place at their table. But my legs felt heavy. My throat burned. I could almost hear my mother's voice in my head. "Don't make a scene, Sarah. Don't embarrass us." The laughter from the main hall felt like knives. Every cheer for my brother made me smaller. I had helped him all these years, through school, through the early days of the company. I was the one who stayed up late, drafting plans, solving problems. Yet here I was, sitting with the staff, invisible. I forced myself to smile at a waiter who looked sorry for me. I lifted my glass of water, pretending it was champagne. But inside, I was breaking. I felt the heat rise in my chest. Not just embarrassment, but a rage that shook me. I stared at the tablecloth, willing myself not to cry. The humiliation was sharp, heavy, unforgettable. My own family had chosen this. In that moment, I knew something had shattered. Whatever bond one thought I had with them, whatever hope I still held for their respect, was gone. And as I sat there, half hidden in the shadows of the kitchen door, I made a silent promise to myself. They would never treat me like this again.